Hi, this is a quick rundown on how you can change your settings in your Zoom account in case there are more options that you want to use when you're having your Zoom meetings or classes. First, you need to sign in. So on the top right of the page, you would click sign in, and we will sign in with our Google account. So scroll down just a little bit so you can see the sign in with Google option. And because we are in Chrome, it'll automatically log me in because my account information is already there. Then to find your settings on the left side of your page, you have the settings option, and there are a lot of settings to go through. So I will just highlight a few that I think you might find helpful or important. Last spring, there were some security issues with Zoom, and so they added a waiting room. I don't use it, but if you're using it with your class, or if you're going to have use the same session but have multiple classes back to back, you could turn that on. Then you have to physically allow the students to join your meeting. Their name would pop up, and then you can allow them to have access to your meeting. So that gives you some control. I just keep mine open. So it's up to you whether you find that helpful or not. It automatically made the passcode because of things last spring as well. Some of these options you do have that opportunity to change when you're scheduling your meeting itself. For example, turning on the host video and the participant video. You could just manually add these to your settings so they will automatically start on. But when I schedule my meeting, I go through and just turn those on there. Something you might find helpful is the chat. Right now, mine is set to participants can send a message and then everybody can see the message. You could turn off your chat if you find that it's being abused. There's also an option for the private chat that allows other people to send messages privately to each other rather than sending it to the whole group. So I have that turned off on mine. So if anybody would send a message in the chat, everybody will be able to see it. So that gives you the option to still use the chat, but it also some security that students aren't like talking one-on-one without having that observation by others. You can also auto-save chat. So if you would need documentation or if you're using it for a ticket out the door, you can have your chats auto-save and then you can see what students were responding. That way you don't have to try and remember to save it. It'll just automatically save. So I just turned that on for mine. Something else helpful would be screen sharing if students are doing projects and they need to share their screen to show their presentation. So I have mine turned on to all participants. If that's getting abused, you could turn it off, so only the host, because you can always allow people individually to be able to share their screen. So some of these options you can change while you're in your meeting. Just depends on what you want your base settings to be. So I have that on for mine. Some other things, the nonverbal feedback. So when you're on the participant tab and you want to do the thumbs up, thumbs down, I'm away sign, that will be here, the nonverbal feedback. You'll need to make sure that you have that turned on. Mine was turned off. And meeting reactions, that's the heart and the confetti. So if you want the students to be able to use those, you'll want that toggle turned on. You can allow students to rename themselves. If that's an issue, you can turn it off. Otherwise, that could be an engaging strategy to let people be able to rename them. And another thing you might want to use is breakout rooms rather than being in the whole group. If you want them to be in small groups and talking to each other, going through problems, then you can turn on the breakout rooms where they can group up, and that option will be there. There is some closed captioning if you have students with hearing disabilities. You can change your background, do the virtual background, put a beach behind you if you would like to. To add that background, you'll have to use the web app to actually put in that background. I think those are the main ones that you would want. So those are how you change your settings, and they automatically save. So you do not have to click on the save button. You just click on the toggle and your settings are updated.